Welcome, everyone, to another great episode of Scott Talk. Today, I've got Aaron Fink from Earshot.
Yes,
Billboard.
sir.
Hey, how you doing, man? I was going to give you a little more of an intro, but we'll cover it.
Gotcha.
Thanks for coming on the show, man.
Yeah, thank you.
How's
Where are you? Are you at home or your office?
yeah, this is my home office. I've
Nice.
sort of made it into a studio here, so
Right. And this is my home studio, so we're even.
you know,
Everybody's staying indoors, so.
your setup looks better than mine.
Got my keyboards here. Yep.
So it's been a while since you guys have released any new stuff. Was your first record, was that back in, was it 2003?
Well, maybe. I just joined the band I think about a year and a half ago. So some of these details might be a little foggy on my end. I think Earshot's been around since the late 90s.
Okay.
Yeah, I should have made like a cheat sheet of all the specs. I'm the new guy, basically. You're interviewing the new guy here.
So they were probably around for a while until like 2000, and actually it was 2002 when they released some
Right.
Getaway and Not Afraid. And
Yeah, that sounds right.
okay,
That
yeah,
sounds about 4
apologies. I
years.
didn't
That's
realize
okay.
you weren't an original member, you know.
You're like, oh, I should have got the other guy.
No,
It's all good.
not at all, man.
Yeah, it's all good.
So, what inspired you guys to get back at it and put out some new songs?
It's funny. I was making a solo record, like I said, about a year and a half ago. I was starting to work on something, and I called Will Will Martin is the singer and main songwriter, Earshot.
Right.
And I had called him, and I'd been like, dude, we stayed in touch over the years, and we've been friends for a long time. And I was like, dude, I have this song where I'm hearing your voice on. Do you want to sing on it? And he was like, sure. And then about a week later, he called me up, and he was like, I have some shows, and the lineup I had isn't quite sussing itself out. And he's like, do you have any interest in playing guitar with me? And I was like, I didn't even really think about it. I was like, hell yeah, man, let's do it. So I've always been a fan of the band, and I've known Will for a long time, so it seemed like a perfect fit. And obviously this type of music and hard rock and stuff is, what I've been known for and what comes natural to me. So yeah.
Cool.
And then as far as making new music, I think Will's been writing, and now we're getting in. I have stuff ready to go, and John Novak, the bass player, has stuff, and so we all kind of are queuing stuff up. And then this pandemic, everybody's been at home, so it's obviously better to work in person with each other and all be in the same room and bounce ideas off each other. That's the way you get the best results. But we're all kind of learning to make do with this email shit, and like not. I mean, this is cool. Or at least we're looking at each other. But it's weird to kind of make music and not have that give and take. So you have to kind of compensate for that stuff, and but we're making do. I mean, you've heard the new song here we're promoting, so you tell me how to turn out without seeing each other.
It's kick ass, man. You can't tell that you guys work together.
Yeah. It's like actors when they go with the green screen.
Right.
The dinosaur wasn't really there. You kind of make do. You kind of pretend. So
yeah, you're acting and you're talking to someone that isn't really there. Yeah. Right. Kind of. That must be how live streams are. Have you guys live streamed at all as a band?
We haven't.
No. Okay.
Because we all we live in different states, so it's been tough to get something like that together. It's not, the logistics of it are a little bit complicated. So.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I watched one though. I watched like, I think it was a couple weeks ago. I watched, you know, the band Seven Dust.
Yeah.
Yeah, they played their like quintessential classic record, Animosity. They played the entire thing,
Oh,
um,
sweet.
and that was like the first live stream concert that I watched. I enjoyed it. It was really good.
Cool. Yeah, I've talked to some artists and they say it's just so weird because you're used to like an
There's no plot.
audience
Yeah,
interaction and
there's again, there's that give and take, and
yeah.
um, it's like crickets between the songs. You know,
Yeah.
there's nothing there. So we played. I have another band called Lifer, and we played one show in 2020, and it was like parking lot style, like drive-in style, I think they call it. And the audience like beeped between the songs. You know, that was interesting.
The weirdest year ever, 2020, right? Jeez.
Yeah, it's been a
Hopefully,
ride.
hopefully it's gonna start getting a little better soon, huh?
So
let's get back. Let's start with some of your influences and your story. Where were you born?
I was born in upstate New York,
Okay.
and but I've lived the majority of my life here in Pennsylvania. I started playing music when I was about 13. I think my middle school music teacher like made us play the guitar, like I don't know, Mary Had a Little Lamb or something like that.
Right.
And
It's the first song everyone learns.
yeah, for some reason I just really dug it right away, and I think, I can't remember, it was a long time ago, but I feel like I had tried all these hobbies and stuff before that, like sports, and I was into like skateboarding and BMXing and all that good stuff. And I never really found a thing that I felt like I was good at or I was in love with. And then when I started playing, I always liked music, but when I started actually making the sounds myself, I was like hooked. I was into it. So, and at that age, I didn't have any other responsibilities or anything, so I could put in a couple hours a day, and I got, my learning curve seemed to be pretty good with it. So I just, like I said, I started putting in hours, and I think I got a band going um, probably a year or two later.
Were
Yeah.
you self-taught or did you take lessons or?
Primarily, and back then there was no internet or YouTube to like all these kids go on now. They
Right.
they have all the cheats, you know, they can see the actual guy playing the actual thing and press part, you know. I learned more of an ear guy, and we had, you know, I had cassettes back then, so it pause and play, rewind, and I learned a lot by ear, and I took a few lessons. I remember I took lessons at the mall, and my mom, I was like, no, I don't want lessons at the mall. I want to be a rocker. So, but a couple lessons, and I actually kind of took some jazz lessons, so I have some background in that, in music theory and jazz and that kind of stuff, but mostly just rock music and listening to tapes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What were some of the bands you were digging around age 13?
So I'm gonna, you know, you could probably be able to tell how old I am right away. So when I was in high school, I thought it was like a fantastic time for music. It was like Pearl Jam, Soundgarden, Alice in Chains, Red Hot Chili Peppers, you know, like all these Stone Temple Pilots, all these great bands, Nirvana, were coming out with these amazing records. And I guess maybe there felt like there was a thing going on, a totally like a movement. I mean, it sounds corny, but it really did feel like something special was going on with that whole Seattle thing. And I remember going to, what really turned me is I went to Lollapalooza. I think it was 92, and I'd never heard of Pearl Jam.
Oh,
I don't
wow.
think, I might have saw their video, like I might have saw the video once on MTV, but and I remember seeing Pearl Jam live, and he was like swinging from the rafters.
I was gonna ask.
And I was like, dude, this is amazing. And I also too remember, the only thing else I remember about that show is I almost got crushed to death. I was like a little skinny teenager, and the crowd was like packed so tight, and I came off the ground, and I was like, uh-oh. But yeah, definitely seen Pearl Jam live right before they were really big was life-changing for me. And that I really dug their modern take. I mean, they're basically a classic rock band at their core, but they put like a modern spin on it. And my ears at that age, it sounded very fresh. So yeah.
So Eddie Vedder was up climbing around on the lights and all that stuff.
Yeah,
crazy. Yeah, I've seen videos of that. And
yeah, he would go up the scaffolding and get make his way over on the truss, the lighting truss, and just dangle there.
I mean, it's just
that's the
crazy.
show that I saw. That was my first entrance into Pearl, my ticket into the whole Pearl Jam world, and I was like, I'm in.
Yeah, I actually saw Nirvana's last concert in Chicago at the Aragon Ballroom.
I've played there. I know it looks like the Taj Mahal on the inside.
Yeah,
I know that place. So what was that, like 94?
Yeah, I'm guessing, in utero. I think it came out in 93. I could be wrong, but probably around 94.
That's awesome.
Yeah, his last concert in Chicago. It was weird at the end of the concert. Everyone was walking off stage, and all of a sudden Kurt just put his guitar down, and out of the blue he ran and dove into the crowd. It was after the concert was done, and you just see a sea of bodyguards dive in to chase him, to try to protect him. And I just remember thinking, there's got to be something wrong with this dude, that was just, they were trying to pull him out, and, he was just all like limber, and I thought, oh my God, I hope he's all right.
Is that where you're from, Chicago?
Yep.
Is that where you're at now?
It is. Freezing my ass off. It's like 5 degrees outside. Mice will be 25,
So I actually happened to be in Chicago, I guess like about a month ago. My son and I we adopted this dog. We drove all the way out to Chicago from Pennsylvania, it's a haul.
Wow.
And then we picked up this puppy and we drove all the way back. So it was a nice little father and son road trip. But that was the first time my son had ever been in Chicago. And he was like, wow, this place is amazing. He's like, I got to get out of this. Yeah. He was feeling it. It's a great town though.
Yeah, it's pretty great. I don't go to the city very much, but I probably should. But
yeah,
maybe, later in the summer when I don't really go anywhere anymore. So
yeah, there's a lot of that.
Yeah. So Uninvited says that was released in 2020. Which is the one? Is that the one that was released on New Year's Eve?
No, that was been a long time.
Well, that was been a long time.
Okay. A song that was written by the band, whereas Uninvited is the Alanis Morissette. It's a cover.
Oh, that's a cover. Okay.
Yeah, I think she had put that. I think that was part of the City of Angels soundtrack.
Okay.
And Will called me up. He's like, "What if we did a cover just to kind of bridge the gap between?" Because he had some new members in the band, and he had put out original material in a long time, and he was like, "What if we just did a cover quick to kind of bridge the gap, and then while we put that out and it marinates a bit, we can work on our own music in the meantime." So we did that, and he was like, "Well, what do you want to do?" And I suggested, I always loved that song, and I thought I could really hear Will's. I think he's got a good range to cover like a female rock vocal. he can get up there. So it sat nicely. I like the way that one turned out.
Cool.
And then since then we've been, you know, poking around and coming up with our own tunes and recording them. And
so been a long time as to when you released on New Year's Eve.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Sometimes my notes get jumbled up, you know. I think I write them down and I'm like, I'll remember what that means. And then it's like, I don't remember what that means.
That's all right. Yeah, so that song came out on New Year's, and it's been met, you know, a lot of the fans and stuff are really digging it. And it seems to be to be doing well. People dig it. So
yeah, I dig it too. It seems like you guys have brought a lot of old fans from, you know, the previous records over, you know.
Yeah, that's a nice. It's like I said, I was a fan of the band before, and I've known them for a long time. And I used to tour with them a little bit in my old band, and it's nice. I have an interesting perspective being a fan first, and then being in the thing gives me a kind of an all-encompassing perspective, I guess.
Yeah.
But Earshot, whatever, has a core, like, built-in kind of audience, and that brand name has lasted quite some time. So like, it's cool when you have that established. People are willing to give stuff a listen,
Right.
because you have that established, right? So there's like that shoe-in kind of thing. And then the idea is always to make some new fans. But you know, I've been in a lot of bands over the years, and it's getting harder and harder to do startups and like new bands with a new name. It's tough. It's hard enough with an established brand name these days, but I've tried to start up bands and stuff, and it's like, whew. So I've learned the hard way that having a catalog and a brand makes it a lot more of a thing that someone's like willing to give a chance, you know?
Yeah, definitely. There's so many bands out there now, and so many,
Yeah.
you know, playlists on Spotify, and it's a good thing and it's a bad thing, you know, depending on if you get included in all those playlists, and then you're happy about it. But, you know, if you get kind of ignored, then, you know, definitely.
Yeah, it's tough.
Tell me about the guys in the band. Go through each guy's name and what they do. And
Right. So Andy Stafford is the other guitar player. So Andy and myself play the guitar, and then Will Martin is the singer. Mike Sylvia is the drummer, and John Novak is the bass player. And it's, as for right now, the one guy lives in California, two guys live in Florida, and two guys live in Pennsylvania. So it's like, it's like we're all over the place. But again, you know, in the modern era, you can kind of work like this, but it has made it hard to rehearse. I know that. But we actually all kind of rehearse when we need to on our own, and just kind of show up and throw down. And you know, we're at a level where you're expected to kind of know what the hell you're doing.
Right. Now, were the other guys original members?
Will is the only original.
Will is the only one? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Yeah.
And he's the lead singer. So
yeah,
if there's anybody that should be an original member,
right.
I'm always like, when I see like revival groups and stuff, or old school groups, and I'm like, I have seen groups with no original members, which I can't believe. I can't believe that. And then like when you replace the lead singer in some bands, I've seen that, and I'm like, it gets a little bit weird for me.
That's a tough one. You know,
that's if you have like a well-established group, it's really tough to replace them. It's only worked, you know, AC/DC, it works for sure.
Right.
Trying to think of another good example, but it's tough.
I mean, could you imagine Aerosmith getting a new singer?
Right.
And it's
you
no
just have to
longer.
Yeah, you got to call it a day.
Yeah.
It's a wrap. You know what I mean? Like you can't. Once you're that far down the rabbit hole, you can't undo that, right?
Right.
But yes, we all know that singers have the most job security, and we all.
Probably a singer and drummer, right? If you got a great drummer, those are really hard to come by too.
That's a good point, man. I always say that. It's funny you brought that up. You got to have a good drummer. You have to have a good songwriter, and then you have to have a singer. Those are like guitar. I mean, I kind of diss myself, but there's a lot of good guitar players out there. You have to kind of bring other things to the table, be it like a good songwriter or, you know, can you sing background vocals or something? You gotta have to kind of more to the table if you're just gonna be like guitar guy, because there's, you know, guitar is really fucking fun. So there's a lot of guys that play the guitar, you know?
Right. Yeah, I actually I started off as a guitarist and
nice.
It's about, I don't know, maybe 20 years ago. I got sick of trying to keep up with everyone, you know, because everyone just kept getting better and better.
Yeah.
And so I switched to bass.
Right. Bass is a lot less stressful.
Yeah.
Time. And you don't have to press on that many pedals. But yeah, I mean, I think a good advice I would give to someone is kind of find your niche. You know, don't try like, yeah, I like to play slide guitar, but I'm not a master at it. You know what I mean? So I know that I'm not going to present myself as like slide guy, although I like to play slide. You know, I mean, you kind of, but I know there's like great slide players out there, right?
Right.
Amazing, super soulful, and like it's so pleasant sounding and in tune sounding. But they might not be the guy that would be like in an AC/DC band or something like of that nature, or hard rock band. So I think you kind of have to figure out what you're good at and kind of hone in on that. And
right.
That's what I would suggest.
Yeah, definitely. 2021, have you guys been able to book any kind of shows or do any sort of planning?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think we have one show on the books, and that's in April, and that's like a festival in where's that, Tennessee.
Okay.
And God knows I would love that. I would love for that to actually take place, but we'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, April, hell, it's almost February, so April is not that. It would be like 3 months away. It's not that far away, so I'm not sure what's going to change in the next 3 months. Maybe the numbers will go way down and people will get vaccinated. I don't know, but it does seem far-fetched 3 months from now thinking of a big outdoor festival. It seems a little far-fetched, but I sure hope it takes place. You know, that would be amazing. I mean, I want to play.
Yeah. Yeah, there's so many people I talk to are like, man, I just want to play. I just want to play, you know, in front of a crowd.
Yeah, I've seen tour dates. I've seen like Metallica list tour dates or festivals at least. I'm like, really? Y'all think that's gonna happen? I don't know. I guess you can like, you know, plan for the best and then always, you know, cancel it or postpone it. But I have been seeing bands throw up dates. I'm like, I don't. Let's hope.
Yeah. Unless it says 2022, I'm always like, oh, I hope that happens. You know,
I've seen a lot of 2021 dates pop up.
Well, hoping for the best, I guess.
Yeah.
You're so you've been writing a lot of new songs, and it's eventually going to turn into a new record, I'm assuming, correct?
I hope so. Yeah, I think that's, or at the very least, an EP.
Okay.
I mean, a
Yeah.
lot of bands do like an EP, kind of smaller. It's weird that people aren't digesting like you and I. We would, we'd get the new Pearl Jam or the new Nirvana and listen to it all the way down.
Right.
And it's just there's people's attention span is so much different, and there's everyone's playing with their phone and watching TV. There's a million things going on, and so
Yeah.
it's like it's not really how people digest. So it's like we've been doing one song at a time, and uh, I used to be like against that, but now I'm learning to go with that. I'm going with the flow. I'm less resistant to that one song at a time thing. It used to seem like again, I'm old school and I like an album. It almost seemed too, I don't know if easy is the right word for it, but it was like too like, oh, that's it. But you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I don't know. It'd be like instead of like buying a novel, you just get one chapter or something. You're like, well, where's the rest of it? It's supposed to be some sort of package thing. But I've come around to the idea of it being okay that it's one song. And it's funny that I think the rock and roll business started out as one song. Like my dad, I grew up listening to records and stuff, and my dad was all into doo-wop music, and it was always like side one was a single, and then the B side was like, sometimes it was another single, but it was usually like a deep cut or a throwaway.
Right.
And everything was, kind of put out as singles. So it's interesting to come back to that, as opposed to like in the 70s where everybody was putting out double albums and, give us 2 hours of your time.
Huh.
But
yeah.
yeah.
Are you guys hoping to release something on vinyl someday? Because
That would be cool.
I know everyone I talk to wants to hear their band on vinyl,
Yeah. Well, my old band, I think we had stuff on vinyl, but it is cool to hear you like your music with with that vibe and the scratches and the whole thing that comes with listening to vinyl. But again, that seems to be the only way that people are like actually buying the music these days is on vinyl. So
yeah,
I think
CD.
it's a smart business move.
Yeah, actually, what you guys are doing is very smart business-wise, just putting out singles, because CDs do sell and records do sell, but not as much as they used to. Well, the records are coming back probably, but
Yeah, I wonder if CDs will come back.
yeah,
I have like thousands of CDs, and I'm just like they're just like in a box and on a shelf. And
yeah,
I'm always too like I get why like a younger person doesn't have any CDs. I get that, but like everybody like our age, I'm like, what'd y'all do with your stereos? Did you just like throw them over the hill, or like what'd y'all do with your CDs? You just ditched them? Like I still enjoyed, I like looking at liner notes.
yeah.
I liked the process of physically putting the thing in. It was more like that little tiny process. There was something like you felt more like you were doing. I felt more connected to it because I was the ritual of it, right?
Yeah.
Taking it out and putting it in. That little ritual made it more enjoyable or something to me. But again, I guess I'm old school. And
No,
now
man,
it's just swipe and you hit.
yeah, as a kid, I used to sit down in the basement spinning records and just hold the record, in my hand and just for hours, just stare at the pictures and read all the songs. And,
Right.
then when
You
we
would
got
know
tapes, I'd unfold the tape and the liner notes. I'd stare at that stuff for hours, just imagining what the band would be like and all that. And
right. And you knew the name of their drum tech because it was listed in
yeah,
You learned all this extra information.
Yeah, and now there's no mystery anymore. It's like you can go on YouTube and watch, your favorite star, like basically, brushing his teeth or whatever. I mean,
Yeah,
people are just all over the
yeah.
place.
I prefer the mystery of things a little bit more than just everything being, so normalized day to day stuff. But it's weird for a lot of the guys that work behind the scenes. They don't get credit anymore. You never see who was the second engineer at the studio or whatever. You never see where it was recorded. Hell, you don't even see like the songwriters listed or who produced it and stuff. So
Right.
yeah, it's like the guys in the band or whatever, but like there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that nobody knows about anymore, doesn't get enough credit, which kind of sucks.
Yes. I was talking to a guitar tech the other day, and he's done all this amazing stuff for all these guitar players. And
Yeah.
he was just telling me how frustrated he was. So he never gets any credit. And
Right.
not even from the guys he does it for. Like they never even mention him anytime or do anything nice for him. And it's like, wow,
Yeah.
So
yeah, sometimes those guys can make or break you too. Like,
importance.
Like, right. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that doesn't get enough credit anymore these days.
Yeah, and music needs to come back because all those people are out of jobs, all the light show guys and the roadies and the techs, and no shows, no jobs, right?
Clubs are shutting down too.
Clubs.
I don't know what's shut down in Chicago, but there was a great club around here called the Chameleon Club, like a rock band staple. Anybody that was coming through Pennsylvania, and that closed. They I think they might be relocating, but the quintessential venue on the street and the whole thing is not there. And I've heard of some other clubs shutting down or downsizing or relocating or whatever. I'm sure there's great places in Chicago that aren't.
Yeah, we're pretty shut down over here.
Yeah.
I think they might be trying to move back to like what they call like a phase 2, where some, restaurants are partially open and all. It's just so crazy. So crazy.
Well, when I was out in Chicago like a month ago, drove through the streets and there was almost nobody. It was like a ghost town.
That's the good thing, I guess. There's no the traffic, I remember the first couple of days after everything shut down, just driving around, it was the best. There's no one around. I was like, I own this place.
Like a movie set, right?
Yeah.
What was that movie? Tom Cruise, Vanilla Sky. It was like that. Did you see that one?
Yeah. That's pretty good. Nicole Kidman was in that, right? I think that's when they were married or something, but I don't know.
Right.
So Earshot 2021.
Yes.
I have a feeling it's going to be a great year for you guys.
I hope so. We got some good songs we're cooking up, and I think even though it's calendar years are a man-made idea, I think there is a sense of like rebirth kind of, so hopefully, and just kind of turning over a new page with a lot of stuff, with all this political shit and the pandemic, and people are like itching to turn over that next calendar year, but
people want to get out.
See what happens.
People want to get out and have fun, and hopefully they'll come see Earshot and check out all your videos. And I appreciate you coming on the show, man.
Yeah, man, it's been fun.
Had a great time. Are those
tell me about your lava.
I just got that. It was sitting outside, and it's still frozen, so it's not even.
Oh, it just came out of the box.
Yeah. I figured I'd spice up the the little background back there, you know.
That's right. Nice, dude. Well, thanks
All
for having me on.
You bet. Come back anytime and keep in touch. And everyone that's watching, thank you very much. Please hit that subscribe button if you're over on YouTube and all other platforms. You know what to do. So thank you very much,
And check
everyone.
out our new song. I think we have a lyric video up for that song. Been a long time. Check
Been a
it
long
out.
time. Yeah, I will leave all those links in the description. So
Nice.
thanks a lot, Aaron.
All right, man. Nice to meet you.